Hi, I'm Anu. Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Life with AIA. We can admit that life is a rat race, we are all in it, and we all feel that there is no time for ourselves to, rest and recharge. But we must do it, and where there's a will, there's a way. So, joining us in the studio is Dr. Miuru Jayaweera. She is the founder of Miuru Yoga and Fitness. She is an internationally certified yoga instructor, and coincidentally, she holds a PhD in marketing management. Hi, Miuru, welcome to the show.
Hi, Anuruddha. Thank you so much for having me.
We all agree that life is a rat race. Okay, we are all caught up in a lot of things. We want to take a break from it, but we can't, or we don't know how. So how do we do it? And tell me, first of all, how important is sleep in this equation? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so sleep is very important.
Okay.
So the first thing, there are three pillars actually to lead a healthy life.
Okay.
First is your nutrition, your food. Second is how much exercise you do. Third is actually sleep.
Clearly, I can do the exercise. Thank you. Right.
So sleep actually comes in the third, but actually, to tell you the truth, the researchers have found out sleep is number one.
Okay.
More than even food and exercise. If you don't get enough sleep and if you don't get quality sleep, it affects your whole performance, your mood, your energy.
Right.
So sleep is very important.
How much is enough sleep?
So ideally, based on research, an adult should take 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night. Because there's a scientifically proven way why it is like that.
Okay.
So there are apparently 4 stages of sleep. The first stage is like this twitching, when you like fall asleep, when you like sometimes you like jolt and sometimes you wake up with it.
Right.
This is when your muscles relax, start to relax. Then after about 10 minutes you go into the second stage where your blood pressure goes down, your temperature goes down, your heart rate goes down, the brain waves, the frequency of the brain waves go down. That's the second stage. Then the third stage is like the deep sleep where your hormone starts secreting, your human growth hormone, where your tissues are repaired, your cells are regenerated in the body. And third stage is the very most important stage actually, and there's another hormone called melatonin that secretes, and the fourth stage is the REM, rapid eye movement. That's when you dream. It's not to say like you can't dream on the other stages, you can, but if you are taking a full cycle of sleep with the 4 stages, the fourth stage is REM. That's when actually the brain starts receiving new information.
Okay.
So just like the body is building up, like the cells are regenerating and your tissues are repairing, the mind is also kind of rejuvenating in that fourth stage.
You did say now 7 to 9 hours sleep is what an adult requires actually to lead a healthy, happy life.
Yeah.
But given the context of how we work and the great pressures we work under and the kind of work that we do, especially in the corporate sector, let's say, or any kind of sector for that matter, I've heard lots of my friends, people I know, colleagues say that they get by on 4-5 hours of sleep, some even less than that. And I feel that there is something really, really wrong about that equation.
Yeah.
But they seem to be managing.
Yeah. How old are they?
Well,
It will take a toll when they are
older.
When they're older. Yes.
This is the problem. Yes, some of them are in their 20s, some are 30s,
Yes.
some are in their 40s.
Yes.
So as a result, they also have a lot of conditions that they are trying to manage.
Exactly.
Like, this-
lifestyle conditions.
Yes, absolutely. For instance, diabetes or high
Yes,
pressure or
exactly.
something.
So like I said, the third stage of sleep, the deep sleep, is when your second and third stage is when your heart rate goes down, your blood pressure goes down, which means you're actually fighting those diseases.
Absolutely.
And actually preventing those, not fighting, preventing those diseases, which means on the other way, if you don't get enough sleep, you can't fight them, which means you're more prone to contracting them, high blood pressure, diabetes, because your body, the adipose tissues like the insulin hormone, everything starts secreting and everything starts regulating during this 4 stages of sleep. And the one cycle, all 4 stages is about 90 minutes, and ideally you should be getting 5 of those cycles.
Okay.
So it's like you come back to that twitching sensation, again you fall to the second stage, like that you go on about
Each
5
cycle.
stages, making it up to 7 to 9 hours. So based on research, Anuruddha, 7 to 9 hours of sleep is a must for an adult.
Okay.
And that is when your body, your cells regenerate, that is when your tissues repair, that is when your brain starts, bringing, absorbing new information.
Right.
So all of this happens, like I said previously, is when you are asleep. So you need to have that 7 to 9 hours of sleep if you're an adult, unless you seriously meditate during the waking hours. If you meditate 4 to 5 hours a day,
Okay.
then that is a different story, where in meditation, in a waking state, your body and your mind does the same thing as if you are asleep.
Right.
But then in our daily lives, we don't,
You don't get that opportunity.
and we are not hermits, we don't do it. Like we do meditate. I meditate 30 minutes a day, but maybe not everyone does. So this is why sleep is very, very important.
Absolutely. So, but at the same time, I want to stress this option, because a lot of people, although they want to have this sleep, I know for a fact that my mother, raising us up, would have loved to have slept for 7-8 hours a day, but she just couldn't. There was no option, she was like on the go, so was my father for that matter. So I was just thinking, for people like that who are stressed by their day-to-day lives and the kind of work that they do, which does not allow you to sleep for the 7-8 hours. Is there something that you can do during during the day, while at work perhaps, or when you come back home, to kind of make up for this?
Yeah, I'd like to first kind of give an overview of what is this stressful.
Yes, please. Yes.
Otherwise, when people don't know what's happening in their bodies, they don't realize the importance of rest.
Absolutely.
So what happens, Anuruddha, is now in the human body, in the neural pathways, there are 2 neural pathways. One is the autonomous nervous system, the other one is the voluntary.
Right.
The autonomous is the automatic, where we breathe without thinking. The body does it for you. Where the voluntary is where you touch things and do things with your neural pathway, working at your benefit. So the autonomous nervous system, the automatic one, goes into another two directions. One is the sympathetic, the other is the parasympathetic. So the sympathetic nervous system is where your body and your mind is always ready to fight.
Right.
This is stress,
Okay.
right? But stress is always not bad also. When we talk about stress hormones, cortisol, adrenaline, people have this misunderstanding, they are all bad. Not really. There are times where you need the stress hormones, like the adrenaline rush for a runner, for an athlete, like in this
Or
set.
even to get away from a bad situation.
Yes,
Yeah.
but that is more physical. Get away from a bad situation, like our ancestors would have used it with an axe in front of their cave, to be away from a saber-toothed tiger.
Right.
You never know. So, but what happens is, as evolution happened, people don't know what to do with this autonomous sympathetic reaction to fight and flight. The response system is still very primitive in our neural pathway. The same secretions happen like we had in the saber-toothed tiger era.
Right.
So still, unless we run and we fight, we don't release it from the system.
Right.
So what happens is, this gets accumulated in the body, the stress hormones, and it kind of puts aside the normal hormonal activity in the body, which means like the kidneys, the heart, our other organs are all kind of not doing anything at the moment with the hormones, but everything is overtaken by the stress hormones.
Now let me ask you like a little harass prashna here.
Yes.
Now you can't kind of accumulate this stress hormone. එකපාරට අවුරුද්දකට සැරයක් එකපාරට හයියෙන් දුවට හරියන්නේ නැහැ. Right. So just checking.
You have to have a regular exercise regime to kind of release the stress off your system.
Right.
And that's why exercise is number 2 to live a healthy life.
So that actually brings me to the next thing I wanted to ask you, because I know you are a yoga expert as far as the term yoga goes. how effective is yoga in kind of fulfilling this requirement that all of us need?
Yeah. So in yoga, there are few styles where your stress hormones are completely eradicated, like eliminated from the system. One is yin yoga. Yin yoga is, like I said, the the sympathetic nervous system is the stress thing.
Okay.
Then comes the parasympathetic, the opposite one. In yin yoga, we activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest. That one is stress, this one is rest and digest. So in yin yoga, we do movements, asana, poses that kind of kick-starts the parasympathetic nervous system and the body starts resting and digesting.
Okay.
In vinyasa yoga, we move and we breathe through the movement. So one breath, one movement mechanism in vinyasa. So when we breathe really well, like that, our lungs are expanded, our heart starts pumping really fast, and the system starts, resetting in what we call ujjayi breathing. Ujjayi breath is the breath that we take like this. It kind of makes the sound of the ocean. That's why in Sanskrit it's called ujjayi breath.
Right.
So these techniques in yoga is helpful in releasing that stress, and that's why yoga helps a lot in stress relief.
Absolutely. So how often should you do, for instance how often do you practice yoga, and for how long per day?
So yoga to me is like the go-to. When I
Right.
feel angry, I start doing my yoga. When I feel sad, while crying, I do yoga.
Right.
I do that because it's a real stress relief for me.
Yeah.
If I'm nervous, I do yoga.
My wife is just going to have the shock of Moses, because I'll probably be in a now after this tears pouring down my face, and I'll be in a pose. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm just saying, that could happen, especially with someone like me. No, we were talking about how stressful our lives are because of these extended work hours that a lot of people seem to be working. So how much is actually too much work? Do you recommend a cutoff point?
There are telltale signs.
Right.
Like if you are a family person, when your kids come up to you and say, Tati, you don't spend time with me. Easy, that's like the first indicator for anyone, I think. The other one is if you kind of find yourself always like breathing shallow.
Right.
Like that.
Or if you're irritable all the time.
Irritable, moody, you feel like you're drained, you feel like you are actually empty. You feel empty although you've achieved so much. You do feel that.
Absolutely, because you
Yes.
seems to be a never-ending cycle of working late hours,
Yes.
and then what you get to look forward to is more late hours.
Yes.
So-
Sometimes when you sit down and thinking also kind of suddenly you go into this zone, like, am I doing this right, because I don't feel good about it.
Right.
These are signs, then you have to kind of draw back.
Fair enough. But how important is food? Okay, is there a way that the kind of food that you consume can complement the kind of lifestyle that you're trying to achieve?
Absolutely. So as a yoga practitioner, I tend to go into more Ayurvedic way of nutrition.
Okay.
So in Ayurveda, what we call is we should eat locally produced food. So for example, if you are trying to get all these
Processed food.
not even, healthy eating is never processed food.
Right.
Even the food that you are going to have is going to be nuts and, imported stuff.
Right.
Chances are your body might not actually respond to it properly.
Really?
In Ayurveda, it's suggested that you eat fruit and vegetables and edibles that are readily available from your local area.
Wow.
Like මඤ්ඤොක්ක තියෙනවා නම්
Hari. මඤ්ඤොක්ක
පොලේ
Yeah.
ඒක කන එක
but
ගොඩක් ගුණයි මේ අර pistachios and all that.
True. I agree with that.
That's not,
But when you say readily available in your immediate environment, do you have a radius that you're thinking about, or is it produced in Sri Lanka?
Produced in Sri Lanka, but
Okay.
also in your local area.
Right.
it's said that your body will respond to it because it's the weather in that area,
Right.
it's the sunlight, it's the way the humidity works differently. So Nuwara is different.
Right.
Colombo is different. Even within Sri Lanka, you get many.
Of course, I completely agree.
Yeah. So this is one thing that you can try out if you
Right.
want to.
Oh, yes,
get
definitely
into
I'm
yoga
going to try
and
out.
Ayurveda. Then the other thing in Ayurveda is mitahara. Mitahara is you eat little. You don't eat like a full plate of rice and then next 2 hours you're like, oh my God, I'm having ismruta. You know?
That's true. I think a lot of us have been there, done that.
Yeah.
And as a result, that's why a lot of people feel that, get into some pattern of exercising or yoga for that matter is difficult because they're used to getting
Eating
stressed
too
out
much.
and you're stress eating.
Yes, yeah. And the way to measure this is like you have to actually break your small stomach into 3 parts.
Right.
First third is for your food.
Okay.
Second third is for water.
Right.
Third third is for the two to digest.
Right.
So only 1/3 of your stomach capacity you should be eating. So
It's going to be a tough ask. But
Yeah,
I see what you mean.
yeah, so if you do this properly, even if you take intermittent like meals in between like main meals, that's fine. I mean, your body will tell you if you need a meal, but for that to be healthy, no processed food, not starchy, like too much of starchy and fatty food. You will know what healthy food are. That's like these things. I don't think people regularly would know. That's why I wanted to
Absolutely.
contribute.
But I actually wanted to know how because it's one thing in isolation can't do wonders for you. So as much as you get into yoga, you have to regulate, you have to kind of regulate your sleeping,
Yes.
regulate your eating,
Eating.
and regulate your responses to the outside
Yes.
world because
Yes,
the world will
change
keep.
of lifestyle also, Anurudha. That's very
Absolutely.
important. Change in the way you think and your lifestyle should change. So when you say sleep, if you're sleeping 9 hours after getting drunk, is completely different to a normal,
Right.
7 to 9 hours of sleep.
The other thing I wanted to know is now, especially when you wake up, after whatever amount of sleep, is there something that you can do to recharge, to kickstart the day? Is there, something in yoga that can help you actually get your energy fast and kind of sustain you through the day?
Surya Namaskar
Right.
is practiced for hundreds and thousands of years around the world as the first thing that they do when they wake up.
Okay.
In Surya Namaskar, there are asanas and there's this breathing pattern called Ujjayi breath, I told you before. It kind of restarts your musculoskeletal structure, restarts your endocrine system, restarts your joints, your brain. Everything gets a restart, and it kind of brings you to this level of energy that kind of will stay with you until about 5-6 in the evening.
Wow.
So Surya Namaskar is the one that I can recommend.
Right. So how long must you do that for?
Maybe 6 rounds of Surya Namaskar. Any style of Surya Namaskars will be okay for about 6 rounds. If you have some time, maybe 12 rounds. Yeah, it will take about half an hour.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's brilliant news.
Yes.
So would you mind demonstrating
Not
some
at
of
all.
this?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Are you up for it?
I'm up for it. If I fall flat on my face, I just carry
you
on. Okay,
won't.
just pretend
Yeah.
like nothing happened.
Yeah. There are so many Surya Namaskar styles in yoga, and this can be one that a beginner in yoga can try out. So you have to come to the top of the mat. You ideally would have to have a mat. Come to the top of the mat, have your arms on the sides. You have to kind of activate what you call the bandhas or the energy locks in your system. So how you do it is you have to lift your toes, spread the toes wide and push them down. Okay? This is why yogis have ugly feet, because we keep doing this. We are kind of gripping ourselves onto the earth, and we then push the heels down, and then slowly we start activating our full legs. So from your quadriceps, your thighs, to your hamstrings, to your calves, you have to feel this energy coming up towards your heart. So pressing down, and squeezing the legs. Then you squeeze your abs or your tummy muscles. You squeeze them in, engage the muscles. You roll your shoulders, bring the arms on the sides. Again, press them down, squeezing the arms on the sides. Squeeze your glutes. So you are activating locks inside of your energetic body. And then you stay here, breathing through your nose 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And you release the body. So that one pose is called mountain pose. Mountain pose is the first pose that I did in yoga, and it changed my life because I felt the energy, how much of energy I could regulate within my body. Then the first pose is going to be Urdhva Hastasana, upward salute. So you bring your arms up over your head, pass your ears like this. So you're stretching right from the tip of your small finger down to your hip. You feel the stretch here. And then you stay here, neutralize your spine without arching the back like this. So neutralizing anterior pelvic tilt, hips forward. And if you want, you can look up. If not, you can look forward. Then comes the third asana. You are going to come down with your arms. Don't worry if you can't touch the floor with the arms. You just have to come down from your pelvic floor. So you are pushing the hips back, trying to keep the knees straight. If not, you can keep a slight bend, no problem, coming down. Okay, so for me, I can touch the floor like this and keep my head on my knees. But maybe for you, it would look like this. That's no problem. Still your body is working. Then you come to a half lift, keeping the palms on your thighs, looking forward, straighten your shoulders. Then bend your knees, place the palms on either sides of the feet, step back. High plank. We all know this. Then keep the knees down. Then you come to something called cat-cow. So you are arching the back, looking up. This is cow. Then lift the shoulders, look at your navel. Cat, like an angry cat. Again, there are Sanskrit names. So this is Gosasana and this is Marjariyasana, okay? So from cat-cow, you are coming to one of the most commonly known poses in yoga called downward facing dog. Lifting your knees up, stepping back a little, and then pushing your upper body against the lower body. So most of you, your heels might not touch the mat like this. They might look like this, and that's just fine, okay? So because of my hamstring stretch, I can keep the heels down. You stay here for 5 Ujjayi breaths. 1, breathing through the nose. 2, 3, 4, 5, and ideally you should look forward and step forward all the way to where you began. Again, might not be easy for a first timer. So then we just walk forward. Okay, again half lift, inhaling here, exhaling, bring the arms up in an inhale, exhale, and we are done.
Well, that concludes another episode of Let's Talk Life with AIA, and my guest today was Dr. Miuru Jayaweera, who has actually been instrumental in telling me and all of our viewers how to lead a very balanced, healthy life and a happy life at that. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Anurag.
It was our pleasure, believe me.